What's going on, guys? Welcome back to KRAZY4KOMPS RC. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel, and thanks for watching. If you are not a subscriber, please take the time, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Yeah, we're doing an update on the comp truck build. I know it's been a little while. I have been messing with this, as obviously you guys last time saw it in a pile of parts. Yeah, it kind of took shape. There wasn't a lot of good filming opportunities. Things pretty much went together as you would expect. You know, when you buy a chassis kit like the Artful Dodger's Ground Fox and it's intended for a VS410, things kind of just go into place. Really not a lot of figuring. Do have quite a bit of time putting it together, but if you've ever done kind of a custom build or just a mixture of parts and making one truck, you know that does take a little bit of time, but really straightforward. So I'll get you guys caught up on where we're at, and yeah, we'll go from there. So we'll go ahead and talk about the body a little bit, and that way I can get it out of the way and kind of dive a little further. I've made some changes since the last video, made some additions, trying to kind of maximize my scale points without going too crazy. Obviously you guys see and saw in the last video I am running this cliffhanger. Cliffhanger is a legal body as far as I can tell. 2022 rules, keep that in mind. I don't think it's a legal body in the new Sorka rules set, but honestly I'm not really an expert on those. Did some trimming in the wheel wells, a little bit of clearancing for some tires. May have to do a little bit more, we'll see. I did add a bomber interior, and then I added a little piece of .04 Lexan. You can see it's got the blue film still on it, just to cover up the, all of the electronics and everything. One of the rules, if you're unfamiliar, is you can't see any electronics from the top down and from the sides. I think it's, perfectly from the side and perfectly from the top. So you could do a pretty rudimentary cover. And we'll kind of talk about scale points, I guess, a little bit in this video. Not an expert, I might be misinterpreting a little bit. So as far as scale points for the body, still have a few things to add, but I have pretty much cut all the holes that I need, at least for the most part. I have a couple of small things that I'm going to add, but one of the things I have is I have this G-Speed just roof plate made out of titanium, and it comes with a small little pulley so you can run your winch and get more like more of a side winch. If you get into a tough spot, you can use your winch, and you do get scale points for this. This is 2 points. Some other things I'm going to add to the exterior slash to the body itself. Like I said, I do have that Lexan interior. You get interior cover points for that. I think I get 2 points because it's a 2-seater interior. Unfortunately though, you don't get any scale points for the drivers because it is a vacuum formed interior. I've got some takeoffs from a TRX4 Sport kit that I have. So I have this axe, plan on cutting it, honestly just to shave some weight, and it just doesn't need to be that long. Just to find a spot, mount it in the bed, probably just glue it down. I also have a small little fire hydrant I got from Hot Racing, pre-painted. I'm not a detailed painter. It's plastic, it's really lightweight, comes with a little mount. It's gonna sit back there behind the seats inside. Also got a little 3D printed first aid kit. In addition, I do intend to run some windshield wipers. These are off a VS410 Origin half cab, like a Pro or an Ultra would come with. So we'll mount these up, we'll get a point for these. I am gonna run a scale license plate. So we got the KRAZY4KV. I could have got KRAZY4KVs all the way on there, but wanted to keep it accurate, 7 characters. Pretty cool though with the Georgia license plate. I do want to shout out RC Plate Shop. I made a mistake and placed the order with the wrong address, and it ended up shipping. We had a conversation right before it shipped about changing the address. It didn't happen, and it ended up going to an old address of mine, but he shipped me a new set to my current address free of charge. Cannot say enough good things about the customer service at RC Plate Shop. He owned up. He said that, I told you I was going to fix it and I didn't, so I'll send you new ones. He will definitely have my business in the future. I'm not, you know, huge into micro scale details, but those plates look awesome, and I might get a whole bunch of them and just, you know, find a spot for one on each of my truck. A lot of YouTube channels, they have, you know, they put their own sticker on their trucks. I don't have any stickers, at least not yet. So having my plate on there, just identify it, and, you know, kind of add a little bit of scale detail, be kind of fun. But that kind of wraps it up for as far as, you know, scale details on the body and / inside the body. I'm running some just axial helmets on that Lexan interior. Still needs to be painted. Looks like a rat's nest. There's quite a bit going on in here. Try to clean up the wiring the best I could. Obviously keep things out of the way, you know, where they need to be out of the way of drive shafts, and you know, this shaft here from the transmission to the, you know, the transfer case portion of the VFD. Got things zip tied down, but let's just kind of walk through it. So one of the first things you'll notice, if you're familiar with a Ground Fox chassis, you'll notice I did switch out the sliders. You guys will see some B-roll footage just to get a little bit better close-ups, so you can kind of see how I set this up. If you have any advice, let me know. I still got about a month before the competition. Time is going to be a little scarce between now and then, but I should have time to make some corrections if you think there's any major flaws. So what else have I done? I have everything wired up, everything works, everything's programmed. The winch is functional. We ran these Hardcore RC titanium links. That was new for me. Those were awesome, easy to assemble. Rod ends threaded on there really nicely. It comes with rod ends as well. So building the Vanquish axles, the transmission, pretty straightforward. If you've never built the VFD or the VFD Twin especially, just follow the instructions really carefully. There's a lot going on in each step. Some of the gears are really close in tooth count, so just pay attention. Go nice and slow, check your work, and you'll have a good product in the end. I did opt to leave like the shroud off just to save a little bit of weight, unnecessary. I could have shortened this shaft. Some guys do that, and then, you know, kind of tighten the transmission up a little bit. But honestly, for the 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch, I would have gained. Not really worth it to me. Potentially screwing that up and then having to order, you know, the parts necessary to fix it. So the axles, transmission I built, and then I built the Ground Fox chassis, and it went together really nicely. The instructions are pretty good. The hardware is really good. The first Ground Fox I built, there was some hardware missing, or there was a few spots in the instructions I think that could have been a little better, but this one was really well done. Really easy to follow, and yeah, I ended up really liking it. I think it's going to be a pretty good performing chassis. It's going to be limited by my driving skill for sure. You guys have seen, you know, I know how to run them, but you know, I can put them together. Definitely not an expert when it comes to driving, especially in a time crunch, but that's what we're doing this for. Get out of our comfort zone, try some new stuff, and you know, just go out and have fun. And I am a competitive person, so competition is gonna, you know, be enjoyable for me. The one downside I will say, if you're not familiar with these chassis, the price is a little bit high, honestly. The nice thing is you basically get a turnkey option. You get all your cross braces, you do get plastic 3D printed sliders, you get your skid, you get your rails. These rails are carbon fiber, and honestly it's a really solid setup. You do get some additional cross braces. You get a lay down chassis mounted servo. There's pros and cons to that. Still playing a little bit with my panhard location, link length, things like that, just threading a little bit either way, trying to dial it in, get that bump steer as minimal as possible. Yeah, moving on, I got the, you know, the chassis built, and then I mounted up the transmission, the axles. You know, I already talked about the links. Those are really nice, high clearance links. Another thing I'll say about the Ground Fox chassis is a con. It is a 3D printed skid plate. So and it's FDM printed, so you end up getting those, you know, those layer lines on the bottom. I have thought about trying to sand it out just to make it a little bit smoother. It is an angled skid, but I do worry that that skid plate's gonna catch a little bit. I'm not too worried about the integrity of it. Obviously a big fall, you might end up breaking it, but I do wish that he had a Delrin option or an SLS printed option, or a way to get the file to send off to Shapeways and have a little bit more of a robust and slick skid plate. You guys saw in the last video, I'm running a Holmes Hobby 10 shooter stubby 2700 and a Mamba Micro X2. There is some debate on the forums on whether that motor is okay, especially on 4S for that ESC. This is a comp truck. I'm not really going to be, I shouldn't be going full throttle. I want wheel speed. I like 4S because of the power it offers the steering servo, and if I need a bump, I should have all the wheel speed I could ever need. But I'm not going to be in the throttle very hard for the most part. So I think I'll be all right. I did drop to an 11 tooth pinion, so we went basically as low as I could go. I might be able to get a 10 in there, but I think 11 stock spur, we're going to be just fine. I did check the wheel speed. You can see my battery mounted in here. For the steering servo, you guys saw RS800 V2, extremely fast, extremely powerful, nice and quiet. And then a CompSpec 300 IS from Reefs, internal spool winch. That's a really nice setup too. You guys can see, I'll show you a little bit better, but where that lays, that's kind of the spot I chose to put it, and it routes nicely. The servo mount in this Ground Fox kit has a Fairlead hole, and then the bumper I also chose has a Fairlead on it, so you can kind of control where that winch line's going. You don't have to worry about it torquing your transmission mount or your motor mounts, and potentially messing up your gear mesh. I've got all this hooked up to my FlySky Noble NB4. I know some people worry about FlySkys at events with lots of driving. I've been at events with a few hundred people. Didn't have any interference issues with that radio. I think some of the cheaper stuff, not nearly as good. But no issues on the Noble NB4, and the receiver is really, really tiny, which is really nice. So my sliders, specifically made for Cliffhanger, they're made by IERC. Really, really good price on them. They're made out of aluminum, but they're pretty thick aluminum. They're really robust. Honestly, the weak link is they screw into a 3D printed skid, but they feel pretty nice. They fit the body really well, and they sit flat while mounting to an angled skid. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, all the low profile, kind of small, compact electronics, really crucial in a build like this, not only for weight, but just making things as minimal as possible, because there's already quite a bit going on. And I'm also thinking about putting a rear winch on here, honestly mostly for the scale points. Probably looking at doing a micro. They're RS100 from NSDRC. I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of mount, I think. I probably won't even really use it, but Sorka does afford you additional 2 points for having a rear winch, and additional to 2 you get for your front winch. I guess we'll talk about wheels and tires. You guys can see I'm running these Method 101s. These are orange. I got these in Wheels of Fortune. Didn't really have a use for the orange. And the shocks, the Dravtex that I got in the last video, the parts video, I did have a 80 millimeter, the extra short Dravtex to kind of match what comes with the Phoenix Portal kit. After looking at it and seeing what kind of travel I was gonna have, I decided to get the shorts, which are their 96 millimeters. But I do have the offset caps, which offsets it by 6 millimeters. So essentially I have 90 millimeter shocks, Dravtex. They did not have black, they had orange, which kind of led me to pick these wheels from my bin of wheels that I had, and is ultimately going to influence my paint scheme. For tires, we're going to run Hyraxes. I think these are probably what I'm going to go with, but I do have a set of VXT 2s from Vanquish, which are a little bit taller tire, a really, really soft, sticky compound. So if it's a little bit colder, I may swap those out. May not match the truck as good, but we're going to have some options at least. While we're on the topic of wheels and tires, last thing with those, no internal weights or anything like that. I do have the brass portal covers on the front, so a lot of front weight bias there. I think they're over 100 grams each, so about a half a pound combined. But I did get some SSD scale hubs, additional scale points. That's 1 point for having them on all four. And biggest thing with those, if you're gonna put them on a Vanquish, especially the Phoenix, they use an M5 stub axle, so you need to get the M5 hub covers. And additionally, you got to get a special tool to put your lug nuts on. That is probably the biggest downfall of this, is needing that extra tool. I bought 2. One is already in my travel toolkit, just in case I need to swap these out or swap my tires out at the event. I'm not SOL. Otherwise, I'll probably have to use a pair of pliers and really mess these things up. For my battery, I'm running 850. I know it's a little bit on the big side. It's what I could get, what was available in 4S. And I just have it mounted to a slider. I got some of this heavy duty Velcro. It's a 3M Velcro. It's kind of like the click and lock Velcro. Holds up to 10 pounds. Really nice. I'm probably gonna start using this when I can't get a battery strap and things. Like in my A1, I have regular Velcro, and I'm definitely gonna switch it out for this. It's a much more secure fit. It's kind of nice. It just snaps in place, and it's really cheap. You can get it on Amazon for, you know, $3 or $4 for a bunch of strips. But yeah, I can pick the truck up by it. It's not going anywhere. So the last thing I'm gonna catch you guys up on is the bumpers. I was trying to figure out bumpers, was looking at potentially fabbing up some of my own. I recently, you know, kind of started dabbling in brazing, and I feel comfortable enough to make these, you know, minimalistic style bumpers, but was worried a little bit about the weight. So I found these from Corrupt Carbon Works, and these are titanium bumpers. They're extremely light, very minimalistic. They meet the specs of Class 2 metal bumpers, and they pretty much don't weigh anything. The front one even has a bull bar on it, and has a winch fairlead as well. But extremely light, and yeah, I like them. They fit the body really well, and should provide me with really good approach and departure angles, which obviously is kind of everything in the name of competition. So that's pretty much going to do it. I just wanted to get you guys caught up. I know I've been kind of a ghost lately on YouTube. I've been working on stuff, just not a lot of things. You know, it's a lot of me looking at things, figuring out where exactly to put a radio or my ESC and tidying wires, just little by little here and there. So not a lot of really good content. I know this isn't the most exciting video. I do intend to get the body finished up very shortly, probably the next day or two, get it painted, and hopefully get this thing out for a shakedown run soon. I am intending to go take a little bit of a trip, go out to Stone Mountain out near Atlanta, about 2 hours away from me, and do some crawling, do some testing, and do some practicing with my winch. And that probably will be the first running footage you guys see of this. Like I said, the lake is very high right now. There is no rock exposed. It's flooded for the most part. So, and it's that rainy season here, so it's not going to go down anytime soon. So unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more benchtop videos and a lot less, you know, running footage, at least on rocks. So like I said, I'm going to get working on the body, get the last few things, you know, mounted on it, the windshield wipers, and then tear it all down, get it cleaned up, and get it painted. And then I need to figure out what weight oil I want to put in these shocks. In addition, I also probably need to switch out the springs. I have a spring tuning kit from DraftTech or Deluxe Fab, and you know, I can do some changes. I think it needs to be a little bit stiffer. It's really soft, but I still intend to bring you guys along as I finish up the body. I'll show that to you guys. Keep an eye on my Instagram, or maybe I'll do a quick video kind of showing you what it looks like before I go out and scratch it up. Gonna take you guys out when I do some practice driving, hopefully do some winch testing, and then ultimately when I go to Cherokee Rock Village, I'm gonna be there for 3 days. If you guys are going, definitely come say hi. I'd love to meet you. And I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday's gonna be mostly a practice day for me. I'm gonna go try to find some terrain, get things dialed, you know, shake out the nerves hopefully. Saturday's, you know, Class 2 comp day. And then Sunday, I'm just going to be hanging out, probably driving a few other trucks, maybe filming some videos, and filming some of the Class 3 stuff as well. So before you go, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That way you guys don't miss any updates. Hopefully some more stuff will be coming here pretty soon. I do have some new trucks to show you guys, so we may do that without the running footage. And then we'll get them out and run them when we can. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.